Hello and welcome to the Clashing of Steel. So today I'm doing a review on Vercingetorix. He's a barbarian commander that is most often played with infantry. Two of his skills can be used with all unit types, and the last one is melee infantry based or cavalry based. So starting with the skills, Vercingetorix's first skill is Iron Discipline. It freezes the unit's morale that you have activated it on. It will last around 10 to 40 seconds, and it has a 60-second cooldown. It can be upgraded to increase its active time, which maximum is 40 seconds. It can also be upgraded to have more defense, ground effect modifier, missile weapon damage and impact damage, with slight upgrade towards melee attack as well. Second skill that the Vercingetorix has is the Scorched Earth. It's a small AoE. All the soldiers in a unit will throw a torch, and it will leave a 30-second lasting area which will tick damage every half second or so. I'm gonna talk a bit more about it in the game. So it can be upgraded to have a smaller cooldown, to have a larger area of effect, or actually can be drawn even further. And the tier 5 skill, or the final skill Vercingetorix has, is the Defiance. Any soldier whose health is reduced to 0 while this is active will not die until the effect is over. Also, while it is active, your unit is silenced and unorderable, meaning you can't give it commands and you can't activate any skills or consumables. While it is active, it will also give 20% melee weapon damage boost. It can be upgraded to have bigger melee weapon damage and melee weapon attack, also to have armor piercing damage, and also to have a better cooldown and longer duration. So let's head over to the gameplay. As you see, I'm playing Sword and Shield Infantry with Vercingetorix. I especially like the Flaming Throw, which are the javelins that are burning. They have limited range, but they do a lot of damage. So I'm hiding myself in the forest as it is regular for barbarians. In this game, I think I'm being more of a harasser than I'm being actually useful. I didn't pick Falksmen or the Cavalry because Falksmen don't have any missile block, and Cavalry doesn't allow me to use my Scorched Earth to its maximum benefit. The idea behind Scorched Earth is that every single soldier in your unit will throw a torch. And the more soldiers you have, the more torches you have. So if you have cavalry of 45 or 40 men, so they will throw 40 or 45 torches. But if I have 100 men, I can throw 100 torches. So that is why I chose the Sword Shield Infantry. So I positioned myself rather well in the forest. I'm moving in with a single unit to annoy my opponents with the Flaming Throw. He thinks I'm attacking him, so he will use the charge to come at me. Although he just attacks like 2 soldiers of a single unit, he doesn't do much. I actually wanted to bait him into the forest, but he didn't seem to swallow that bait. For a brief moment I thought he might come after me, at least with a single unit, so I can outflank him. But because of the cavalries that are here, I can't even exit the forest. I need to annoy him as best I can. So my idea is to move inside the forest, at least to the very rock, and see if I can bait him once again. Perhaps I can throw a Scorched Earth under his units and make them suffer huge amounts of damage before my unit goes down or so. Since he is playing Armored Legionnaires, I am actually faster inside the forest than he is out in the open fields. So here is my small bait. I'm once again going outside the forest and using the Flaming Throw. I want to annoy him, to be as annoying as I possibly can. So he uses his charge, and since he's following me, I think this is actually a great moment where I should attack. I use the Scorched Earth and then I engage him. I also use the Iron Discipline to freeze my morale so that my unit would not instantly rout once the cavalry charges in. Although I'm moving in to help and defend my unit's rear, I was slightly a bit too far away and the cavalry did a lot of damage. But deploying Scorched Earth right under the opponents that were eager to engage me suffered heavy casualties, as did I from my Scorched Earth, but because they were in the middle of it and I was near the side, some of my soldiers in a unit did not take that damage because they were outside of its effect. To throw Scorched Earth, you gotta be really careful. I usually go for the tactic if there are stronger opponents than me, or if I don't have chances. I will go for the chance that they will try to fight me, and then I will throw it under both of us, but mostly under him, meaning that I will still take damage from the sides, but he will be standing in the middle of it. So as you saw here, he used his full health unit to come and flank my fighting unit. I threw down Scorched Earth to weaken his approach, to annoy him a bit more, to weaken him a bit more. It somewhat worked. His units are both damaged quite a lot, but I couldn't engage myself because there were cavalry inside the forest. I didn't want to sacrifice my units to do mediocre damage, so this way, playing safe, I didn't just let my units die over a few lousy kills. I can do a lot more. I have Scorched Earth, I have Iron Discipline, and I have the Defiance. So he sees me once again, and I'm playing with him. I ain't engaging him, and I'm toying with him. Just to be safe, I didn't want to engage, because the cavalry just left, and they could be back really fast. So my focus is to follow him, annoy him the best I can. Probably the hardest thing to do with Vercingetorix is to use the Scorched Earth so that you don't take any significant damage. You can use it as a supporting tool, just throw it up in front of your own units to keep opponents away, or when your team members are holding the line, just throw it up in front of them or inside the enemy. If the enemy won't move, they will take huge amounts of damage and the torches will burn their flesh to the bone. You can see it again here. I threw the fire right under him, and then my unit was left to the side of the fire. I actually threw the second Scorched Earth, but the cavalry kinda ruined it for me. I think they were trying to engage the swordsmen, but instead they pulled one unit of armored legionnaires away. Still, I'm doing quite a lot of damage. I'm being rather successful here. My unit is mostly to the side of the fire, so they're taking small amounts of damage compared to the armored legionnaires. Probably the thing to note is you shouldn't use Scorched Earth and Defiance at the same time. Otherwise, your opponent might use the fire against you. If you throw down Scorched Earth and your opponent is right on it, and then you use Defiance, your opponent can just run behind the fire while leaving you in it. Defiance makes your unit uncontrollable, unorderable, meaning that they will continue attacking the last target when it was activated. Scorched Earth can also be used to break off any defensive lines, from phalanxes, pike phalanxes, spear phalanxes, to the simple sword infantry lines. Usually when you throw it down, opponents will either try to engage you or they will pull back. The Scorched Earth is pretty much your bread and butter. That is your biggest amount of damage. You will just throw it down and you will just wait. Although you might not get any score by throwing down fires all over the map, it is a great support tool. It can weaken opponents and it can win you the games. Usually I don't suggest throwing all 3 fires into a single location, because there's a high chance the opponents will move. I actually got a bit cocky here. I thought the opponents might act them regular themselves, so they would try to engage me. I throw down the fire and I engage them, but instead I end up standing in my own fire. So this is what can happen when you activate Defiance and the opponent moves out of your fire. But fortunately, my other unit could annoy him as well. Although I kinda slightly missed the Scorched Earth, I was expecting those units to reform on my second Scorched Earth, but well, now they're flanking me. Fortunately, for Iron Discipline, I can survive the moments when I'm being flanked, or when opponents are attacking me from the rear, or trying to make me suffer any kind of moral damage. So here, I'm flanking the opponents. I'm being actually rather successful at it, but not enough. I could cover one side and the rear, but I couldn't cover the other side, and my unit is dying, so I don't want to stay engaged. Although they are weakened, they are still really strong. It's probably best to use Iron Discipline in situations where you might suffer heavy moral damage. Because of its low cooldown and long duration, you can use it to fight opponents or withstand on defensive positions. Scorched Earth, you need to be very careful when placing it. It can pay out great, or it can burn you yourself. You can combine all of your commander skills, but be very careful when combining Scorched Earth and the Defiance. You might get burned by your own fire. Also, to use Scorched Earth, remember, you can't be in combat. If you're in combat like 2 seconds ago, you probably can't use it. So if you're engaged, the Scorched Earth can't help you. You need to use it right before the combat, otherwise you can't use it. The best suggestion about the Scorched Earth that I can give is to try it out yourself. There are so many ways it can work, and it can sometimes pay out in incredible ways. But then again, it can bite you right back. You can use Iron Discipline to disengage from uncomfortable situations if you really want to. You can just use it as a disengagement tool. But it can usually support you in melee situations as well. I have tried Vercingetorix out with many different unit types. Cavalry, archers, war dogs. And the best outcome and the best defense I have is with the sword shield infantry. You can try out different units or different combinations yourself, but because Scorched Earth is my main tool, the melee infantry seems to pay out most in my playstyle. Anyways, this was it about the Vercingetorix review. It is really hard to explain this commander. He's easy to understand and hard to use perfectly, so I really suggest trying him out. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.